Hey everybody, welcome to something different. I'm going to try a weekly recap of what happened last week on active self-protection and kind of talking about what went down. Hey, super great to have you here joining me for this kind of just bonus episode. I figured it would be interesting to just kind of sit down and tell you a little bit of what happened at active self-protection, because I will be willing to bet you missed at least a couple of the videos on the channel because YouTube probably didn't show them to you. And I want to just kind of talk about the week that was, and we're going to go from March 31st through April 6th this week and talk about what we saw. So it was kind of a hard week on the channel, quite frankly, this last week. I mean, obviously March 31st was Easter. And you know, when we started going from there, I mean, all heck broke loose in some capacity. On that one, on Easter, was the guy who like picked a shopping cart up and threw it at a woman. And then things got crazy from there. Then the next one after that was the guy in Washington who, went into got a woman to answer the door who was 70 years old and just pummeled her as the start of like a crazy crime spree that they didn't catch him on for several days, where he stole a car and then carjacked somebody else and caused a wreck and ran from the cops. And of course started all that by beating the crap out of a 71-year-old woman. That was pretty good. And to back that one up, then we had the Lakewood Church active killer video that out of Houston, Texas. And of course, you know, we were pretty critical of the officers there, I think with good reason, but of course that is going to cause folks some chat posteriors on a lot of levels and for a lot of decent reasons on that as well. Then finally, a decent outcome out of Brazil of a couple getting out of the danger zone and seeing it coming enough, but gosh, man, really did have some challenges with it. Could have gone really bad really fast. Well, we had at least one there that was a good guy win, because the next day was the most viewed video of the week was out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, badge cam there with, I mean, just one of the most serious incidents that I've seen on the channel of an officer being stabbed to death on the channel. Was really, really, really a hard one to watch, especially, again, if you go watch that one, because I have friends on Las Cruces PD, and so that one was really personal. I didn't know Officer Hernandez, but I know a lot of people who did know him. So then Friday, we had one that was too much for YouTube. And when you talk about good grief, man, the one from Las Cruces wasn't. I'll explain that to you in just a minute. But then we had this other one that, man, it would have caught a channel strike. So we put it over in the ASP Unlimited app and then told everybody, hey, go watch that one over there, or go watch one of the ones that you missed. And as you can think in the comments, people comment out a negative emotion more than positive, and some folks were frustrated with that, but actually was quite successful, and people went over and watched it in the ASP Unlimited app, which you don't have to actually download anything for. You can click the link that I gave you and then sign up and then go and watch in a browser if you want to. It works on browsers too. You don't have to download an app to your phone if you don't want to, though. If you're like me, you've got a million apps on your phone, so what's a million and one? Not really a big deal, right? Then after that one on Saturday, finally a great outcome out of California. Stephanie with me on that one, of a clerk who was ready and booped an armed robber right on the snoot with his gun. So that was what we had on the ASP main YouTube channel. Now in the ASP Unlimited app, we had the exclusive video that came out of Buffalo, New York, and that one was, holy crap, man, that one was really serious. That's why we put it over only in the app. And actually the discussion over there was really, really awesome. And I really appreciated that from everybody. And also the second one, we did a deep dive live. Me and Neil and Mike did a deep dive live on the Lakewood active killer response over in the ASP Unlimited app. And that was a really good discussion. We went like 90 minutes of really thinking through some of that stuff. And you know, when you think about it, the video itself, we condensed everything down to 24 minutes, but then the actual, when we were able to go the deep dive and do that live in the ASP Unlimited app, man, that was a great discussion. So if you're in the ASP Unlimited app, make sure you go watch that one. I think it's really worth your time. And go watch the Buffalo one that is app exclusive that came this last week. There's links in the description if you are a subscriber to ASP Unlimited. We also had some great videos over on Active Self-Protection Extra, and I'd encourage you, if you're not subscribed to ASP Extra, make sure that you go subscribe over there. I think in particular, Carrie, her discussion on holster hotspots, I really, really appreciated. Thought that was a really good kind of discussion on how to avoid holster hotspots and how to deal with that. And then Tim and I talked about justification stuff too, which was pretty cool. So a bunch of good videos over there this week, some good stuff from Chris Bean as well. I just wanted to talk a little bit briefly. If you look at comments from this last week, some of that stuff, we usually over in the ASP Unlimited app do our React Ripple where we'll go and respond to those comments. We do try to respond to comments here on the big channel as well. We don't get to maybe as often as we absolutely would like to, but we do try as best we can, but we do deep dive on them in there. And man, the comments on the Las Cruces officer, we had over 4,000 comments on that one video alone, which is a lot. There's no way that we can keep up. Next on the channel was the Lakewood Church active killer response, which had about 2,500 comments. A lot of those were pretty critical of the officers, which I think was justified in their criticism of that. If you didn't watch those two, the Las Cruces one is pretty hard to watch emotionally. I think the Lakewood one as well because of the little boy that was involved in that. But both of those I think have incredibly important lessons. So make sure that you get a chance to go and watch those. So I do want to say, again, some folks on the video on this last Friday were pretty frustrated about the fact that it was over in the ASP Lite tier over on the app only because of the content. Well, I explained it in the video, but the reality is that I can't risk channel strikes on ASP. And there was a few folks, not more than a few, there was quite a few folks who were like, well, John, wait a minute. I went and watched it, and that one is not as serious as the Las Cruces PD one. The Las Cruces PD one, man, if you remember when on the badge cam portion, you can hear and see the blood coming out of his, you can't see it coming out of his neck, but you can see from his badge cam perspective spilling on the ground. That one was disturbing and far worse than the one in Buffalo that we didn't put on YouTube. So what the heck, man? And the reality is because Las Cruces PD put it out on YouTube as a badge cam release, well, that is, again, public information and those things. So that gives me strong argument with YouTube that I took what was a public good and a release by Las Cruces PD, and I added educational context to it, so it's more of a public good, so it meets the terms of service of YouTube. So I have that argument to make because an official United States government entity released that on YouTube, and YouTube allowed it. So, aha. Whereas the second one out of Buffalo, you're not going to find on YouTube. I suppose you could potentially, but I looked and I couldn't find it on YouTube, and I don't have the argument about the other one. So that was just a decision that I made. You'll see us do that on occasion. And actually, in fact, you're going to see this next week. We just put an extra lesson in the app just as an additional bonus lesson for everybody who's in the ASP Unlimited app. We did that without, while posting a second and subsequent different video here on YouTube. So no big deal there. Anyhow, this was this week at Active Self Protection. Good number of views on a lot of videos. Again, within that, the Las Cruces PD officer had about like 360,000 views in 4 or 5 days or something like that. That's pretty much a lot. You know what I didn't look at, and I'm gonna look at real quick, is the shorts from this last week. And actually the funny part is sometimes the shorts and the main channel, kind of the main video, the full video, they don't line up in terms of how many views that they get. And actually they didn't this week is kind of funny because looking at them, the #1 viewed short for the week was actually Wednesday's video on YouTube, which was the couple getting away from the armed robber. And that one had over 300,000 views on it. Had fewer comments than the Las Cruces officer, so recognize that when I'm showing badge cams, because badge cams are so long, right? The badge cams usually take 4, 5, 10 minutes sometimes to play through the whole thing, and on YouTube Shorts I get 60 seconds. So what I'm doing there is instead is I'm putting just a little snippet of a lesson from the lessons portion of the badge cams. So that one was titled, "Be Careful Compressing Space Unnecessarily," and then connecting it to the big one. Whereas the surveillance videos I usually can get, because they're usually typically a minute or less, that whole playthrough of the first part as the short for that day. And so that one had 300,000 views as opposed to the compression of space portion of the lessons from Las Cruces officer, which still had over 260,000 views. So listen, I'm trying my best on the shorts, just learning that genre and trying to get little snippets of folks to understand little short lessons on that and then send folks to the big video. And of course, the best thing that you can do to help me do that is share it around to your friends, send it to people on text message, like and subscribe and share on your social media, and I sure appreciate it. Well, thanks everybody for being here for this weekly recap. I hope it helps you think about the best way this week. Maybe you were like, oh, I didn't catch that video from that. They're all linked in the description so that you can check those out. And I hope this week we help you cover your ASP.
Download the ASP Unlimited app for all the content you love from active self-protection and more with no interference from YouTube. No ads, no age gates, exclusive videos, seminars, classes, and more on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Android TV. Hit the link in the description or download ASP Unlimited from your app store today.